everyone, so today I'm going to be talking all about high-end beauty, which is definitely one of my favourite subjects. I do love my budget products. I like to dabble in the drugstore, but I do also really like a good kind of high-quality, higher-priced product as well, and I think there's just something really lovely about having a luxury product, something that's a little bit more on the higher end of your budget. It just makes for a really lovely thing to have in your collection, something that you're really going to cherish, and that's definitely how I feel about my more high-priced beauty products. And I also think they make for really lovely gifts, and now especially as we're coming up to Christmas, I think it's just nice to give someone that little extra special something, and a few of the things that I'm going to be talking about today would make for lovely, lovely Christmas gifts. So I'm going to start with the product that's probably my favourite out of all of these at the moment, and it's the Aerin Evening Rose Body Cream. Aerin is a little side brand of Estee Lauder. Erin Lauder is actually Estee Lauder's granddaughter, I believe, great-granddaughter, granddaughter, one of those, and it's just the slightly more kind of fun, very beautifully packaged, slightly more luxury end of Estee Lauder, and I really, really love all the products. This one in particular though, because the smell is just insane. It's so, so good. Now, I'm definitely not a rose person at all. In fact, the scent of rose generally tends to make me gag, but this just smells so kind of fruity and warm and wholesome. I can't really explain how good this smells. I actually put it on earlier and my room actually still smells of it. It's that intense, and it really just lasts for such a long time. I think if you're going to be wearing this, you can just skip perfume altogether, although I think this comes in a fragrance as well, so if you really wanted to layer up and have a really lovely scent surrounding you, I think that's the perfect way to do it. I really love fragrance body creams, especially when they're from a slightly higher end brand, because I think these are just such lovely things to have on your dressing table and to give as gifts, so this is just one of my favourite things at the moment. I've also been loving the Chantecaille Just Skin Tinted Moisturiser. I've talked about this a few times already, but it's become one of my go-to bases. I'm really into tinted moisturisers and slightly lighter coverage bases at the moment, and this just ticks all the boxes. It's super hydrating for my dry skin. It gives a beautiful kind of glowy, radiant look, which I love my skin to have. It looks super dewy and super healthy, but without being sticky. And the coverage is actually really beautiful. It is still quite a lightweight coverage, but it manages to give my skin just a nice even tone. Everything looks more flawless and more even, and I just think it's a perfect everyday base. Definitely one worth investing in, because although it's quite a high price product, I think it's just so, so worth it. The Charlotte Tilbury Mini Miracle Eye Wand is also something that I really wanted to just gush about, because honestly this stuff is just the best under eye concealer I've ever come across. I need concealer. It's one of my most used beauty products, and I would honestly pay 10 times what this is priced for it, because it is just so good. It has two ends to it. One side has the concealer in a little twist up clicky pen, and the other side has an eye cream, and I think this really makes all the difference. It's a very brightening and very tightening eye cream, so as soon as you put this on and it kind of set down, it just seems to lift your eyes, which I really, really love. And the coverage of the actual concealer is just unparalleled. It really is quite amazing. It manages to get rid of all my dark circles, all the kind of bluey, purpley tones under there, without having to use any other products at all. It's so super pigmented, and yet it's still quite thin and quite light and very easy to blend. So this stuff I just love. It's definitely one of my all-time favourite holy grail products. Probably one of the most beautifully packaged products of all of these are the By Terry Ombre Blackstars, and I've talked about these quite a lot. They really are quite a staple in my makeup routine, and I think they just work so beautifully at giving a super quick, really easy eye look. You can blend them together and use them with different products and do all sorts of things with them, but I like to use them as just a single wash of eyeshadow. The shade Misty Rock in particular is just an amazing one. It's a really different colour. It's a sort of taupey, purpley, slightly more cool tone shade, and it's really not something I've ever seen before. There are so many of these twist up crayon eye products on the market now, and I think a lot of them, even the budget ones, are really, really great, really impressive, but honestly, I have to say I still always come back to the By Terry ones. There's just something about the formula that's so smooth and so pigmented, and it just glides on, blends incredibly well, and it just looks so, so nice. I also think the colours that By Terry do are very different to any of the other ones on the market. They have some beautiful shades, and I just love and want them all. I think they're just such amazing products, so definitely one of my high-end favourites. I'm going to get this one out of the way now because I'm pretty sure it's no longer available. I think this was a limited edition and they don't make it anymore, which is such a shame, because honestly it's become one of my favourite bronzers ever, and it's the Chanel Le Beige bronzing powder. First of all, the whole Le Beige collection has just the most beautiful, beautiful packaging. I love this kind of cream colour that the compact has. So pretty, it feels super high-end, and it's so nice to have in your makeup bag. And then the actual product is just this kind of stripy looking bronzer, and at first you think this is just an everyday normal looking bronzer, but there's just something about it that makes my skin look so healthy and so glowy, and it's actually called the Healthy Glow Multicolour Powder, so it just gives your skin this radiant look. There's no shimmer in it, there's nothing at all, it's a completely matte bronzer. It just makes everything look super healthy and super warm and glowy. If you can still get your hands on this one, I cannot recommend it enough. You should definitely go and see if you can still pick it up. I'm sure a few of the Chanel counters may still have a few in stock, but I think if you're looking for a new bronzer and you want to go for a slightly more higher end one, which I always tend to do, I think it's nice to have a more high end quality bronzer, just because some of the more budget friendly products can be a little bit more on the orangey side, and I think bronzer is something that can go very disastrously wrong if you don't get it right. But this, I think, is just so amazing. I love it, and I'm so sad that Chanel have discontinued it now, so if you do find one, snap up because it's so amazing. When it comes to fragrance, there are so many beautiful high-end fragrance brands and so many amazing scents that I just love, but I think the one brand that I always know I can go to and find something that's just going to work for me is Jo Malone. These are two of my favourites from the Jo Malone range. This is Peony and Blush Suede and Blackberry Bay, but there are so many other fragrances that they do that I absolutely love. There's something very different about Jo Malone scents. They're not something that you can just pick up in Boots or any other normal fragrance shop. They are very personal and very unique, and you can actually layer all of them too, so if you have a couple of scents you can layer them together and make your own personalised scent, which I think is really great. I love giving these as Christmas gifts. I think these little smaller bottles just make for a really perfect, lovely treat. They're just something that everybody is going to love, no matter who you give this to. They're never going to be disappointed. So Peony and Blush Suede is a slightly more lightweight fragrance. It's a bit fruity, kind of floral, but it's also very warming too, and this one really reminds me of Christmas, mainly because I bought it I think about 2 or 3 Christmases ago, so it really brings back memories of that, and I love the way that scents can do that. So I think if you give a fragrance as a gift, it's always going to remind that person of you, which I think is really nice. And then Blackberry Bay is another one of my absolute favourites, probably one of my favourite perfumes ever. And this one is kind of more sharp, and it has that sort of fruitiness from the blackberry, but it also has this herby, kind of spicy scent in there too, which is from the bay, and it's just so different, so unique, not something you're going to find anywhere else. So I really rate the Jo Malone perfumes. I think they're beautiful. Now, lipsticks are something that I have an abundance of, but I think when it comes to the more high-end lipsticks, my absolute favourites are from Tom Ford. Not only because the packaging of these are just so stunning, the formulas are also amazing. So two of my favourite shades are Ruby Rush, which is what I'm wearing on my lips today, which is a really beautiful red, very Christmassy, very Christmas party. And then I also really love the shade First Time, which is one of my favourite nude lipsticks. I get really funny about these, and I never use the front of them because they have the TF kind of stamped onto them, so I kind of just use the back, which is a bit weird. As far as lipsticks go, they're just too pretty to use, so I try and keep them in as nice and pristine condition as I can when I use them, and you really don't need a lot of them too. They're very pigmented, and they have quite a thin formula, so they never feel cakey on my lips, they never feel drying. They just last really well, they look beautiful, and I think they're some of the best lipsticks out there. So those are just a few of my favourite high-end luxury beauty products. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if any of those are your favourites, or if you have any other recommendations for me. They're some of my absolute favourite products, and I really couldn't be without them. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a like if you did, and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all soon. Bye!